There comes a moment when standing still becomes unbearable. When every breath you take as your current self feels suffocating. That moment, right now, is not just another pause in your life. It's the ignition point. You either remain chained to the version of yourself that's full of hesitation, softness, distraction, or you burn it to ash. There is no third option. Burn the old self. Burn the excuses that kept you mediocre. Burn the fear that made you quiet when you should have roared. Burn the comfort that softened your edge. Comfort is not safety. It's slow erosion. And you've been eroding for far too long. Stop scrolling. Stop explaining. Stop defending the you that doesn't exist anymore. If you're watching this right now, ask yourself, where are you? What time is it? Drop it in the comments. Because this is your moment. This is your fire. This is where you burn down the lie you've been living. The weak version of you. The one who gives up after 2 days. Who overthinks. Who says someday has to die. You don't fix him. You destroy him. Like tearing down a rotting house to lay the foundation for a fortress. You must declare war on the habits, the thoughts, the environments that bred that former self. No one else can do this for you. You say you want to change. Then why are you still acting like the person who doesn't? Stop treating your life like it's a rehearsal. You have one shot. One. If you're still trying to fit into who you were, then you're not free. You're imprisoned by outdated software running in your mind. It's time to uninstall. This isn't about inspiration, it's about transformation. Fire doesn't ask permission to burn, it consumes. You need to consume every weakness in you. You think this sounds extreme? Good. Because moderate efforts produce moderate people. And you're not meant to be moderate. Let this sink in. Your habits are not quirks. They're decisions. They're contracts with your own identity. Every time you say, "I'm too tired," you're signing a renewal with the weaker you. Tear up that contract. Renounce it. You are not that person anymore. Do not romanticize your past. Do not keep souvenirs from your old life. Delete the pictures that keep you trapped in nostalgia. Stop returning to conversations and places that reinforce your old patterns. Burn it all. Clean the battlefield of your life. You can't build a castle on top of ashes unless you first sweep the ground and lay a new foundation. And understand this: destruction is painful. You will grieve the version of you that was too scared to try. But do it anyway. Cry while you burn. But don't stop burning. Alexander the Great didn't conquer the world by negotiating with the boy he used to be. He cut off anything that wasn't conquest. The same goes for you. You are at war, and war has no space for excuses. If you're still asking for comfort, you've already lost. You were not born to remain. You were born to evolve. So what needs to die? The habit of hitting snooze. The way you talk yourself out of starting. The story you keep telling yourself about why it's too late. Kill it. Set it on fire in your mind, and don't bring it back. You must become ruthless with yourself. Compassion without consequence is just permission for weakness. From this moment on, you don't have a bad habit. You have a virus, and you're the cure. You must disinfect your life, and like any real cure, it will hurt. Withdrawal hurts. Healing hurts. Growth hurts. But you must hurt forward. This is the threshold. On one side, safety, sameness, silence. On the other, pain, chaos, and growth. Which will you choose? You can't have both. No one gets to evolve by keeping their past alive. So burn it. Burn the old journal where you wrote goals you never chased. Burn the plan B that you secretly kept in your back pocket. Burn the language that makes you small. I'll try. I'm not ready. Maybe later. Burn your apology for existing. No one is coming. No one is going to knock on your door and drag you into greatness. You must light the match yourself. And once you do, never look back. Let the fire begin. In the stillness after the flames, you will walk alone. But that walk is the beginning of mastery. You walk alone now, not because you're broken, not because no one understands, but because this is the path of those who choose to rise. There will be no applause, no fanfare, no one waiting at the finish line with a medal. Just silence, just sweat, just you. Most people fear solitude because they've never faced the raw truth of who they are. They keep noise around, friends, entertainment, distractions, to avoid sitting in a room with their own thoughts. But silence is your ally now. It is in the quiet that you meet your real self. Not the version molded by others' expectations, not the one filtered for social media, but the one who breathes in uncertainty and exhales clarity. When you walk alone, there is no echo of approval to guide you. And that's the point. Approval is a leash. Cut it. Walk forward even when no one cheers. Especially then. You see, greatness isn't built in crowds. It's forged in isolation. Michelangelo didn't sculpt David with an audience watching. He locked himself away with stone and chisel until the masterpiece emerged. Elon Musk didn't dream Tesla into reality at a party. He sat in brutal solitude, problem after problem, failing and restarting and refining. Every world shifter was once a lone figure in the shadows, building in silence. When you walk alone, you learn what you're made of. There's no one to blame, no one to distract you, just decisions, just ownership. If you don't act, nothing happens. That's power. That's responsibility. People will ask, "Why are you so distant?" They'll say, "You've changed." And they're right. Because you're no longer interested in being available to things that drain you. You're not cutting people off out of hate. You're protecting the energy that's finally flowing towards something that matters. Let them misunderstand you. Let them gossip. Let them assume you're lost. You're not lost. You're focused. You're done playing small just to be liked. Popularity is a trap. Presence is freedom. And presence is built in solitude. You will be tempted to go back to the comfort of shallow conversations, to the buzz of constant noise. But resist. There is a reason you chose this path. You saw what others missed. You recognized that the greatest rewards don't come from attention. They come from alignment. There is strength in becoming self-sufficient. When you stop seeking validation, you stop being manipulated. When you stop asking permission, you start moving mountains. Remember this: a lion doesn't need a pack to know he's a lion. You must sharpen your own mind now. Wake early. Work in silence. Build in secret. The grind doesn't need an audience. It needs your full commitment. And when the results begin to show, don't explain. Just nod and keep moving. There is no room for weakness here. This is not about isolation for the sake of loneliness. This is about isolation for the sake of clarity. Every great general retreats into his war room before leading an army. This is your war room. Use it. Test yourself. Wake before the sun. Sit with your thoughts before the world infects them. Read instead of scrolling. Plan instead of reacting. While they're numbing themselves with comfort, you're becoming surgical with your focus. Solitude is not emptiness. It's expansion. It creates space for your potential to breathe. In that space, you will discover that all the answers you've been begging for have been inside you the whole time. You just couldn't hear them over the noise. Be ruthless about guarding your space. You owe nothing to those who mock your silence. You don't need to defend your distance. You are not obligated to shrink so others feel comfortable. You will lose people. You will lose distractions, but you will gain yourself. And that trade is always worth it. This is your edge. When others panic because they're alone, you remain calm. When others feel lost without direction, you are centered. This is not arrogance. It's mastery. It's knowing that your power comes not from noise, but from stillness. Stop asking the crowd for directions when your soul already knows the way. And when it gets hard, and it will, you remind yourself, hard is where strength is made. Loneliness does not break you. It reveals you. It shows you where you're weak so you can rebuild stronger. That voice inside, the one whispering that you were meant for more, that's the one you follow. Not the doubts, not the critics, not the noise. Keep walking, keep building, keep burning. Because when you walk alone long enough, you become the one others eventually follow. And when that day comes, you won't need to speak. They will recognize what was born in the silence. Discomfort is the doorway. Every time you step into it, you choose evolution. Every time you avoid it, you stay the same. Growth never comes wrapped in ease. It arrives disguised as difficulty, as resistance, as pain. And your ability to face it determines who you become. You want change? Then you must make suffering your ally. Because the truth is simple. Comfort is killing you. It whispers soft lies that you deserve rest when you haven't earned it, that you've done enough when you've barely started. It keeps you warm and weak. You weren't built for a soft life. You were built to bend steel with your will. Stop searching for the easier way. It doesn't exist. The greats, the ones who broke records, built empires, rewrote history, they didn't look for hacks. They chased the fire. They trained in the cold. They suffered in silence. And that's why they stand where they do. There is no version of greatness that avoids discomfort. If you always need conditions to be perfect before you act, you'll never act. You'll sit on your potential while it rots inside you. You must choose struggle, voluntarily. Wake up earlier than you want to. Do the reps when no one is watching. Say no to temptation, not because you have to, but because you must. That's where strength is forged. The gym hurts. The grind hurts. Discipline hurts. But regret hurts far more. Your body is capable. Your mind is the battlefield. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," you lose a small war. Every time you choose what's easy over what's right, you reinforce weakness. And weakness, over time, becomes who you are, unless you destroy it. Burn procrastination. Burn hesitation. Burn the idea that you need more time. There is no more time. There is only now. What are you afraid of? Failing. That's part of it. Struggle? That's required. Pain? That's the tax for transformation. The ones who can endure the most pain without quitting are the ones who rise highest. Look at David Goggins. Look at Jocko Willink. These men didn't win because they were gifted. They won because they ran towards suffering. You must begin to crave discomfort. Not because you enjoy pain, but because you recognize its purpose. Pain is feedback. It's the signal that you're pushing beyond the old you. When your muscles scream, it means they're adapting. When your will cracks, it means it's being reforged. Do the thing that scares you, the thing you've been avoiding, the call you haven't made, The project you've been planning for years. Step into it. Right now. Because the longer you wait, the more power comfort has over you. You were not put here to coast. You were not born to survive. You were built to dominate. And domination comes from doing what others avoid. While they seek distraction, you seek resistance. While they rest, you rise. And when it gets unbearable, that's your cue to dig deeper. That's when most quit. That's where you separate. That's the gap between average and elite. Pain is a compass. It points directly to what you need to face. If it's scary, it's for you. If it's hard, it's required. If it hurts, it's working. You want confidence? Then do hard things and don't flinch. Confidence isn't built from compliments. It's earned through conquering pain. Discipline is the daily dose of discomfort. It's waking up when you're tired. It's saying no when you crave yes. It's pushing when quitting is easier. If you wait for motivation, you'll be a slave to your feelings forever. Discipline is doing it without negotiation. You have to break the myth that you're fragile. You're not. You've just been soft for too long. And softness doesn't build kingdoms. You want to feel powerful? Then suffer with purpose. Choose discomfort and rise through it. Because the version of you that lives in comfort can never become the version of you that conquers. The warrior in you is asleep, not dead. And discomfort is the only thing that can wake him. Let today be the day you stop running. From challenge, from fear, from pain. You've played small long enough. Now is the time to harden your mind, sharpen your edge, and step into the fire with open arms. This is where the old you dies and the real you is forged. Your mind is not broken. It's programmed. And right now, that program is outdated, infected, and holding you back. If you want to rebuild your life, you don't start with your environment or your goals. You start with your thoughts. Because your life is a mirror of your mindset. The stories you tell yourself dictate your ceiling. And for most, those stories weren't even chosen. They were inherited. From your parents, from your culture, from a world that taught you limitations before it ever taught you power. It whispered lies like, "You're not good enough. You'll always be this way. Don't dream too big." And you believed it. Not because it was true, but because you heard it often enough. Now it's time to uninstall every belief that makes you small. Reprogramming begins with awareness. You cannot delete what you refuse to acknowledge. So look honestly at what you believe. About success, about failure, about yourself. Which thoughts are pushing you forward? Which ones are holding you hostage? Challenge them all. Question everything. If your belief doesn't serve your evolution, burn it. I'm not disciplined. Who told you that? Was it a failure once? Was it someone else's opinion? I always quit. According to who? Based on what? Stop using your past as evidence for what's possible in your future. The truth? Beliefs are choices disguised as facts. Start rewriting them now. Instead of "I'm trying," say "I am." Instead of "I hope," say "I will." Speak to yourself like someone you respect. Would you tolerate someone constantly telling your closest friend, "You're not good enough"? Then why do you tolerate it in your own mind? Words are software. They instruct your subconscious what to build. If you say "I'm tired," your brain listens. If you say "I can't," your body follows. Reverse that script. Say, "I am focused. I am becoming unstoppable. Nothing can break me." It's not delusion, it's direction. It tells your nervous system where to go, and where attention goes, energy flows. Now, eliminate the poison. Stop feeding your mind junk. Negative news, toxic conversations, drama, fear porn disguised as information. Every word you consume either strengthens you or softens you. Make a decision. From this moment forward, your mind is a weapon, not a sponge. Start protecting your inputs like your life depends on it. Because it does. Curate your world. Clean up your feed. Ditch the memes. Ditch the outrage. Ditch the noise. What you allow in becomes what you reflect out. Surround yourself with strength. Read books that stretch you. Listen to voices that challenge you to level up. Watch people who've built what you want and copy their mindset. Not their lifestyle, their mindset. Because mindset is the blueprint. Everything else is just decoration. Visualization is your new training ground. See yourself doing what the old you couldn't. Your brain doesn't distinguish between imagined experience and real experience. It only responds to repetition. So flood it with images of you executing at the next level. Picture yourself finishing the work, waking up early, saying no, getting it done. Do this so many times in your mind that your body has no choice but to follow. But don't stop at seeing, live it. Align your habits. You can't think like a warrior and act like a civilian. Every action must echo the new identity. From how you start your day to how you speak, to what you allow into your space, it all matters. Don't say, I'm becoming disciplined. Say, I am disciplined. Then prove it with action. Your identity is not built on wishes. It's built on evidence. Lay the evidence daily. Your brain is plastic. It can be rewired. But it responds to repetition, not inspiration. You want mental toughness? Train it. Starve distraction. Feed purpose. Push boundaries. Every day. Failure is not your enemy anymore. It's your professor. The old you feared setbacks. The new you uses them as fuel. Every loss is a message. Every mistake is feedback. Learn fast. Adjust faster. And then there's quitting. Remove it. Not just from your options, but from your vocabulary. If you give yourself a way out, you will take it. Burn that bridge. Make success the only way forward. Like a soldier landing on hostile ground and lighting the ships behind him. You go all in. No plan B. No backup life. No backup mindset. This transformation is not temporary. It's permanent, but only if you make it so. There will be days when the old thoughts come crawling back. They'll knock softly at the door, disguised as comfort, laziness, or justification. Do not answer. You've moved. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You don't live there anymore. The strongest minds don't just think differently. They refuse to think like everyone else. They are architects of thought, not tenants of borrowed beliefs. You are now one of them. Rewire, rebuild, reinvent. And when the mind shifts, the life follows. Not everyone deserves access to you. That's the truth most won't say out loud. Some people are not neutral in your life. They're subtracting from it. And if you don't start cutting off what's toxic, what drains you, what pulls you back into the identity you're trying to escape, then none of your inner work matters. You can meditate for hours, build new habits, speak affirmations into the mirror. But if you're still surrounded by people who mock your discipline, who joke about your goals, who pull you into conversations that go nowhere, you're dragging anchors and wondering why you can't fly. You're not obligated to stay connected to everyone just because you used to be close. Relationships must evolve or end. There is no neutral. They either align with your future or keep you bound to your past. Some people only know the older version of you, the one who tolerated disrespect, procrastinated dreams, laughed along with mediocrity, and that's who they expect to return. When you start to grow, they will notice. Not because they're cheering, but because your growth forces them to face their own stagnation. And some won't handle it well. They'll call you arrogant for setting boundaries. They'll say you've changed, as if that's a bad thing. They'll make passive-aggressive remarks when you start saying no more often. Let them. That's not your problem. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. You are not obligated to carry people who won't carry themselves. You don't need toxic cheerleaders. You need silence and progress. You need discipline and peace. You must clear the space. Because energy is finite. Every message, every conversation, every moment you spend explaining yourself to someone who doesn't want to understand, that's energy stolen from your future. You think you're being polite, but you're actually self-sabotaging. Cut the cord. It doesn't matter if it's a friend, a partner, a family member. If their presence pollutes your mindset, they must go. You're not being cold, you're being clear. You're not being cruel, you're being conscious. If someone keeps dragging dirt into your house, how many times do you let it happen before you change the locks? And toxicity isn't always loud. It's subtle. It's disguised as concern. Are you sure you can do this? Don't you think you're going too far? That's not support. That's fear wearing a mask. And fear is contagious. Don't catch it. You must learn to recognize energy drainers. The ones who complain but never act. The ones who gossip, sabotage, resist growth, and expect you to play along. Their chaos will infect your focus if you let it. Don't. Set hard lines. No negotiations. You're not rejecting them. You're protecting yourself. And negativity isn't just people. It's habits. It's content. It's the garbage you consume online. If you're filling your feed with outrage, gossip, and distraction, don't be surprised when your mind feels heavy and anxious. Curate your inputs. Turn off the noise. Unfollow the nonsense. Mute what weakens you. Your mental health is not an open forum. Not every thought deserves to enter. Not every voice deserves to be heard, especially if that voice is tearing down what you're building. You don't owe anyone your time. You don't owe anyone your explanation. You don't need to justify your focus. If they don't get it, that's fine. You didn't change for them anyway. This journey you're on, it's sacred. You're reconstructing your identity. That requires energy, clarity, and conviction. And anything or anyone that pollutes that environment is a threat to your growth. You are the gatekeeper now. If someone drains you every time they speak, stop picking up the phone. If a place triggers old habits, stop going there. If a routine distracts more than it delivers, delete it. Your attention is a currency. Start spending it like it's gold. Because here's the truth most won't accept. You cannot evolve and remain surrounded by what broke you. If you don't cut it, it will cut you. Slowly, invisibly, and without mercy. You must choose your circle wisely. Surround yourself with strength, not sympathy. With vision, not drama. With builders, not complainers. Audit everything. Friends, family, habits, inputs, routines, and ask one brutal question. Does this align with who I'm becoming? If not, you already know what needs to happen. Make peace with solitude if it means staying true to your mission. Walk away quietly. You don't need a speech. You need a standard. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being precise. Your life is your creation, and every element you allow in either shapes or sabotages that design. Protect your mind like a fortress, because once your energy is clean, your focus sharpens, your progress accelerates, your discipline multiplies, and the noise, it fades. And in that silence, the new you rises. Your routine is either your prison or your liberation. There is no middle ground. Every single day, the structure you build, or the lack of it, determines who you become. The truth is, you don't need more motivation. You need a system so strong that motivation becomes irrelevant. This is not about perfection. It's about consistency. Because consistency compounds. Every small choice, when repeated, becomes momentum. And momentum, when protected, becomes identity. But most people don't protect their momentum. They interrupt it for convenience. They pause when life gets uncomfortable. And then they wonder why nothing changes. You cannot afford that luxury anymore. You must build a routine so bulletproof, so unshakable, that it runs even when your emotions don't cooperate. Because your emotions are unreliable. They're weather. One day sunny, one day storm. You don't build your future on forecasts. You build it on systems. Start with your mornings. The way you begin the day dictates everything else. If you wake up and immediately reach for your phone, you're already consuming, already reactive, already feeding distraction before you've fed discipline. Stop that. You need to wake up and own the first hour like it's sacred ground. Because it is. Your morning must include clarity, movement, stillness, and action. Clarity. Remind yourself what matters. Movement. Wake the body. Stillness. Command the mind. Action. Begin momentum before the world interferes. Win the morning, win the day. You also need simplicity. Complicated routines die quickly. They look good on paper, feel productive, but collapse after 2 days. You need habits that are sustainable, not sensational. Better 5 powerful habits done daily than 10 sporadic ones that impress no one. Track everything. Not for guilt, but for ownership. Use a journal, a calendar, an app, anything. What gets tracked gets improved. If you don't know what you did yesterday, how do you expect to grow today? And when life punches you, as it will, and your routine breaks, don't let it break twice. That's the golden rule. Never miss 2 days in a row. Missing once is human. Missing twice is a pattern. Protect your consistency like it's oxygen. Some days you won't feel like doing it. Those are the days that matter most. Those are the days when your discipline is either real or a costume. Do it anyway, especially when it's inconvenient. That's how you build self-respect. Discipline is the ultimate form of self-love. Not the soft, pampering kind. The hard, uncompromising kind. The kind that says, I do this because my future matters. Think of the elite performers, athletes, CEOs, creators. Their routines are sacred, non-negotiable. Not because they're special, but because they made the decision to operate like professionals, not amateurs. And amateurs act when they feel like it. Professionals act because it's Tuesday at 5 a.m., and that's what Tuesday at 5 a.m. requires. Your routine should be so tight that your brain stops asking, should I? It just executes. That's the freedom discipline gives you. Fewer decisions, less friction, more progress. Eliminate distractions like your life depends on it, because it does. Most people don't fail because of lack of effort. They fail because they can't focus. Their day is a ping-pong match of notifications, interruptions, and mindless scrolling. Audit your time. Cut the fluff. If it doesn't move you forward, remove it. Do the hardest task first, every day. That task you're avoiding, that's the one. Tackle it before your willpower fades. Because willpower is not infinite, it's a battery. Drain it wisely. Your routine is your insurance policy. When motivation dies, it keeps you moving. When doubt whispers, it drowns it out. When life gets chaotic, it creates calm inside the storm. And remember, success is not one big move. It's not a breakthrough. It's the result of tiny, invisible victories repeated endlessly, showing up again and again and again. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. So build systems that don't rely on how you feel. Build routines that make success inevitable. Build mornings that start the fire. Build nights that close the day with reflection, not noise. A great night routine protects your next day. Turn off screens. Reflect. Review your wins. Plan tomorrow. Set the intention. Go to sleep with purpose, and when the plan breaks, and it will, adjust. Don't quit. Don't burn the whole thing down. Pivot, tweak, realign, but keep going. Flexibility is not weakness, it's intelligence. The structure should bend, not snap. Your routine is not a cage, it's a weapon. Use it. Every habit either builds the new you or keeps the old one alive. Every hour either moves you forward or keeps you in place. There is no neutral day. Time is either compounding for you or against you. Build a life where your habits are louder than your excuses, where your system is stronger than your story, where your identity is forged daily in the fire of repetition. Make your routine sacred, because once it's locked in, everything else falls into place. Control your emotions, or your emotions will control you. That's the line between those who break and those who rise. Your feelings are real, but they're not rulers. They're signals, not commands. And until you master that distinction, you'll be dragged by every wave of frustration, doubt, and fear that hits. Most people are slaves to emotion. They wake up and let their mood dictate their actions. If they feel tired, they skip the workout. If they feel discouraged, they cancel their plan. If they feel disrespected, they lash out. That is not power. That is chaos in disguise. Discipline begins when you stop needing to feel like it. You are not your feelings. You are what you do in spite of them. Emotional control doesn't mean you become cold or numb. It means you become a warrior with composure. You feel everything, but you are ruled by nothing. You breathe through the tension. You pause when anger rises. You respond when others react. The strongest people are not loud. They're precise. Think of someone like Nelson Mandela, 27 years in prison, brutal conditions. But he didn't emerge angry and bitter. He emerged focused and strategic. He knew emotional reaction would only sabotage the bigger mission. He played the long game. That's what strength looks like. You must learn to pause. That 1-second gap between impulse and response is where your power lives. Most give that away. They explode. They retreat. They quit. But the composed endure. They wait, breathe, and then strike with clarity. Self-discipline is built in the moments you want to quit, but don't. When you're frustrated and want to scroll, and instead you work. When you're hurt and want to lash out, but instead you process and move forward. These are not small victories. These are the bricks of a fortress mind. And patience, patience is the rarest form of strength. Everyone wants success now. They want results now. But you must understand that building greatness takes time. Real progress is boring, slow, silent. You don't plant a seed and scream at it to grow. You water it daily. You tend the soil. You trust the process. Emotional control means delayed reaction. It means not every opinion needs a reply. Not every insult needs your energy. Not every battle is yours to fight. Sometimes silence is your shield, and sometimes it's your sharpest blade. Do not let small things hijack your day. The traffic, the rude comment, the missed call, these are pebbles. Don't let them become mountains. And when setbacks come, and they will, refuse to spiral. Instead of "why me?" ask "what's next?" That shift in language rewires your brain. It moves you from victim to strategist, from passive to powerful. Your mind must become a battlefield, and you must win it daily. Every time you say, "I'll start when I feel ready," you surrender power. Readiness is a myth. You act first, then feel ready after. That's how confidence is built. Through action, not theory. Through doing what scares you, not avoiding it. Your triggers, those things that make you explode or shut down, they're your compass. They show you where the work is. Trace them, study them, master them. Because the man or woman who knows their triggers and still remains composed, that person is dangerous in the best way. Discipline means setting emotional boundaries with others and with yourself. You don't argue with your feelings. You don't bargain with them. You observe, acknowledge, then decide. Logic leads. Emotion informs. And yes, you'll slip. You'll lose control. That's part of it. The key is not to stay there. Regain command. Reset fast. Refocus faster. Mastery isn't perfection. It's recovery speed. Emotions should serve your mission, not sabotage it. Anger can fuel your drive, but only if directed. Sadness can deepen your focus, but only if you channel it. Even fear can sharpen your edge, but only if you learn to step through it. You are not fragile. You've just been conditioned to believe you are. The world wants you reactive. The algorithm feeds you outrage. Society rewards impulsivity, but not you. You're different. You're building something bigger than applause. So when the urge comes to snap, to quit, to explode, pause. Take a breath and choose strength, because one calm choice today becomes instinct tomorrow. The more you practice discipline, the more automatic it becomes. Like any muscle, emotional control grows through resistance. Use small moments, delays, inconveniences, criticism as reps, repetitions of restraint, repetitions of power. And if you think this is soft, look around. Most people can't go a day without melting down. One comment ruins their whole mood. One failure shatters their focus. You think being composed is weak? Try holding your tongue when your ego wants to scream. That's strength, so train your reactions. Rehearse your responses. Prepare for the pressure. When you can stay calm while others spiral, when you can keep moving while others stall, when you can act with discipline while others make excuses, you win. Not just the moment. You win the war. You are not a fixed identity. Who you were last year, last week, even yesterday, none of that defines who you are right now. Reinvention is not only possible, it is your responsibility. If you've come this far, if you've burned the old scripts, walked alone, endured the discomfort, and taken command of your emotions, then the next move is clear. You must rebuild yourself from the ground up. Not tweak, not improve slightly. Reinvent, a full system override. Because transformation isn't about adjusting behaviors. It's about shifting identity. You don't just act differently. You become someone else entirely. That means new habits, new standards, new rules, new voice. It means showing up in a room and no one recognizing who you used to be. Because that version is gone. Not evolved. Gone. The mistake most people make? They try to change while still clinging to fragments of their old self. They say they want to level up but keep relationships, habits, and environments tied to mediocrity. Reinvention requires letting go. Brutally, permanently. You must release the old labels. I'm the quiet one. I've never been disciplined. That's just not me. Who told you that? A teacher? A parent? Your younger self? That version didn't know what you're capable of. Stop accepting definitions you never chose. Instead, choose your identity deliberately. You want to be confident? Then stop waiting to feel confident. Start acting like someone who is. Speak clearly. Stand tall. Move with intention. Your physiology trains your psychology. Behavior leads belief. You don't wait until you believe. You move until it becomes true. And yes, it will feel fake at first. Like you're pretending. That's normal. You're breaking neural patterns that have existed for years. This is not imposter syndrome. This is identity lag. Your mind hasn't caught up to your new standard yet, but it will. Stay the course. Think about actors. When they step into a role, they change their walk, their talk, their thought process. That's what you're doing. Except this isn't for a performance. This is your real life. And the new role is the elite version of you. Visualize the new self in detail. How do they speak? How do they respond to conflict? How do they handle setbacks? What does their routine look like? How do they walk into a room? Write it out. Read it daily. Then live it. Now. Not someday. Not when the stars align. Now. Because if you delay becoming that person, you delay living that life. And yes, you will meet resistance. The old you will try to reassert itself. It will whisper familiar scripts. You're tired. This is too much. Maybe you're not ready. Don't negotiate. Don't revisit old comforts. You don't owe them anything. You will also face people who resist your transformation. Some will mock it. Some will try to drag you back. Some will disappear. That's fine. Let them. You're not here to be understood. You're here to become undeniable. And the best way to silence doubt is consistent evidence. Day after day, show the world, and more importantly, yourself, that this is not a phase. This is permanent. This is who you are now. Think about Muhammad Ali. Before he ever became champion, he declared, "I am the greatest." He didn't wait until the world believed him. He said it, acted like it, trained like it, until everyone else had no choice but to accept it as reality. That's your job now. You don't need permission to reinvent yourself. You don't need approval. You don't need applause. You need a decision. And then you need execution. There will be discomfort, doubt, relapses, moments where the old self tempts you to fall back. But each time you choose forward, you reinforce the new identity. Reinvention is not an overnight miracle. It's a daily commitment. It's how you eat, how you sleep, how you respond when no one is watching, how you train, how you speak to yourself, how you choose discipline over ease, clarity over comfort, standards over excuses. And here's the truth. You are always becoming someone. Even if you're passive, even if you're not trying, habits are forming, beliefs are shaping. You're either becoming intentional or you're becoming accidental. Which will you be? Burn the costume. Kill the character that kept you small. The one who waited, apologized, delayed, that person doesn't exist anymore. Not because you said so, but because you proved it. And when people from your past say, "You've changed," look them in the eye and say, "Exactly." Because staying the same is not loyalty. It's betrayal to your future. So make it final. Not a transformation you try, a transformation you become. From this point forward, the old you has no access. You've upgraded the system. New rules, new reality, no returns. Your life is the manifestation of your identity. When you change who you are, everything else must follow. Step into that. No one is coming to save you. No mentor, no partner, no friend, no opportunity will magically rescue you from mediocrity. And the sooner you accept that truth, the sooner you take your power back. Self-reliance is not a mindset, it's a survival skill. Dependence is weakness. Not because asking for help is wrong, but because needing it to function is a slow death of potential. Every time you wait for someone to tell you what to do, every time you hope someone will push you forward, you hand them control over your destiny. That ends now. You must become your own rescuer, your own source of momentum, your own leader. Because if you don't, you will always be at the mercy of someone else's attention, permission, and validation. Build without applause. Create without consensus. Move without a map. This world doesn't reward potential. It rewards those who take action, especially when no one's watching. Think of Theodore Roosevelt. As a child, he was sickly, asthmatic, weak. But he didn't wait for a doctor to change his life. He built his own body, trained in the wilderness, forged himself into the man who would become one of America's most powerful leaders. That wasn't luck. That was radical self-reliance. You are not helpless. You've just been conditioned to believe you are. Society loves to sell the narrative that you need more help, more guidance, more time. But the truth is, you need less waiting and more doing. Your instincts? Trust them. Your voice? Listen to it. Your path? Walk it, because no one else has to live your consequences but you. Self-reliance means you stop outsourcing your problems. If something's broken, you fix it. If something's missing, you build it. If you fall, you get up, without looking around for someone to notice. This mindset isn't arrogance, it's accountability. Yes, people can help you. Yes, mentors matter. But they are supplements, not saviors. They can advise, they can guide, but they cannot climb for you. You must do the climbing. Stop waiting for signs. Stop waiting for approval. Stop waiting for permission to take your life seriously. You don't need to be told you're ready. You become ready by moving. The most dangerous people are those who don't need external motivation. They act from internal fire. They rise with purpose, not praise, and they keep rising, even when no one claps. Self-reliance means facing your life fully. No blame, no victimhood, no if only. You take what you've been given and you build, brick by brick, hit by hit. You stack progress, even when it's slow, even when it's lonely. You learn new skills, not to impress, but to empower. You study, not to look smart, but to become dangerous. You improve, not to prove anything, but because that's who you are now. You are your own greatest investment, and that means feeding your mind like it's a weapon, sharpening your body like it's your armor, honing your habits like they're tools for war, because they are. And when life gets hard, and it will, you don't collapse. You adapt. You pivot. You find a way. Because you know that excuses don't pay the bills. Complaints don't create results. And waiting doesn't build empires. You do. And emotional self-reliance? That's the next level. When your mood, your peace, your focus is not dependent on how others treat you, you're no longer fragile. You don't need the apology to move on. You don't need the validation to believe. You don't need the reassurance to keep going. You're driven by something deeper, your own mission. This doesn't mean isolation. It means independence. It doesn't mean rejecting help. It means never needing it to function. You can thrive alone, and that is the ultimate freedom. Because when you're self-reliant, no one can manipulate you. They can't dangle their approval over you. They can't pull the rug. They can't control what they didn't build. You built this, and yes, you will be misunderstood. Some people will call you cold. Others will say you're distant. Let them. You're not here to explain. You're here to execute. This is the art of self-reliance. Trusting yourself more than anyone else. Backing yourself fully. Betting on your own ability every time. You are not weak for standing alone. You are powerful beyond measure. Because when everything else collapses, when the noise fades, when the support vanishes, you still move. Because you decided to. You don't need to be the most talented, the smartest, the best connected. You just need to be the one who refuses to wait. So decide now. No more hoping someone shows up. No more asking for a rescue. No more begging life to give you a chance. You are the chance. Pain is not your enemy. It's your invitation. Every moment of struggle, every setback, every blow to your ego is life whispering, you are not finished yet. Pain is not trying to stop you. It's trying to shape you. But most people run from it. They hide, numb it, avoid it, pretend it's not there. And in doing so, they never learn. They never transform. They stay soft. You must choose the opposite. You must make pain your teacher. Think of every great transformation in human history. Every legend, every leader, every warrior. What do they all have in common? They suffered. Not once. Repeatedly. Pain wasn't an interruption to their journey. It was the journey. Frida Kahlo turned physical agony into art. Nelson Mandela turned prison into patience. Viktor Frankl turned Auschwitz into philosophy. Pain was their classroom, and it must become yours too. The old you flinched at discomfort. The new you walks into it, eyes wide open. You say you want to be mentally strong? Then suffer with purpose. Endure intentionally. Don't look for the exit when it gets hard. Look for the lesson. What is this moment trying to reveal? Where is the weakness it's exposing? What part of you is still soft? Pain is a diagnostic. It shows you where you lack endurance, where your mindset still breaks under pressure, where your discipline still has cracks. And then, if you're brave enough, it gives you the tools to fix it. Don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this building in me? Most people avoid pain and wonder why they don't grow. Growth is pain. Muscle tears before it gets stronger. Mind stretches before it gets sharper. Spirit cracks before it becomes resilient. When you run from pain, you run from the very thing that could make you great. You must stop numbing and start noticing. Don't drown it out with scrolling, distractions, or sugar-coated lies. Sit in it. Feel it fully. Let it carve you open. Then rebuild. Pain will refine your priorities. It will strip away what's not essential. You'll stop caring what others think. You'll stop wasting time. Pain brings clarity faster than any mentor ever could. You will learn who your real friends are when you suffer. You will find out what you truly believe when nothing goes your way. You will meet the real you, not the one you present to the world, but the one who emerges in silence when everything is stripped bare. And that version of you, the one who doesn't break under pressure, who doesn't beg for easy, who doesn't crumble at the first sign of resistance, that version is unstoppable. But first, you must pass through fire. It's not about enjoying pain. It's about using it, transmuting it, letting it break down the weak walls of your identity so something unshakable can rise in its place. That heartbreak, that betrayal, that failure, it's not the end. It's a forge, and if you don't run from it, it will gift you power beyond anything comfort ever could. Start reframing. Don't say, "This sucks." Say, "This is sharpening me." Don't say, "I'm tired of struggling." Say, "This is how champions are born." Your language is the lens through which pain becomes either poison or power. And when the pain feels unbearable, when you want to quit, when the voice in your head screams, "Give up," know this: you are close. Most people quit right before the shift, right before the lesson locks in, right before the old version dies for good. But if you keep pushing, even for one more step, one more set, one more day, something changes. Your identity catches up. You become the person who doesn't fold, and that becomes your new baseline. Use pain to build memory. Every time you push through, you write a new story. You prove to yourself that pain is not a wall, it's a gate. Walk through it. Every time you do, you carry that power into the next battle. Over time, your tolerance increases. Your confidence expands. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. You can't avoid pain. That's not an option. But you can decide whether it weakens or weaponizes you. And here's the beautiful twist. Pain that once broke you becomes fuel. You stop resenting the struggle. You start chasing it. Because you know what lives on the other side. Power, conviction, freedom. So the next time it hurts, the next time life hits you hard, don't collapse. Don't complain. Don't curse the sky. Smirk and lean in, because the old you would have run. But this version was born for this. There's a reason the most successful people in the world aren't always the smartest, the fastest, or the most naturally talented. They're the ones who simply refuse to stop. They are relentless. They show up when they're tired. They execute when no one's watching. They do the work every day, without excuse, without needing to be seen, and without negotiating with themselves. That is a relentless work ethic. It's not glamorous. It's not inspirational Instagram quotes. It's quiet, brutal repetition. It's mastery forged through monotony. While others search for the secret, the shortcut, the hack, you build. You build when it's boring. You build when it's hard. You build when results are invisible. Because that's what separates you now. You no longer chase progress only when it's convenient. You pursue it when it's inconvenient. When it's cold, dark, and lonely. Because that's when it counts. The lazy believe effort should be comfortable. You now know the opposite is true. A relentless work ethic is rooted in identity. It's not something you try. It's who you are. And you prove it every day in silence. Every early morning. Every rep. Every no to distraction. Every yes to discipline. It's the proof that stacks. It's the evidence no one sees, but it's what makes you dangerous. Consider Kobe Bryant. The Mamba mentality wasn't hype. It was reality. He showed up to practice at 4 a.m. while others slept. He outworked everyone because he refused to let talent be the deciding factor. That's not obsession. It's standard. You don't need to want it every day. You just need to show up anyway. Because results are not built on excitement. They're built on execution. On working when you don't feel like it. On staying sharp when everyone else is slipping. You think you're tired? Good. Work anyway. You think it's not fair? Perfect. Keep going. You think no one's noticing your grind? Even better. That means you're building in peace, without pressure, without expectation. That's when greatness is born. Relentless work ethic doesn't start with motivation. It starts with clarity. What do you want so badly that quitting is no longer an option? What's your standard now? Because when the standard is excellence, effort becomes the price of entry. People with average work ethics always look confused when they lose. They say things like, "But I tried. But I wanted it. But I worked hard yesterday." The relentless don't work hard yesterday. They work hard every day. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your habits. So what do your habits say about your future? Do they say you're committed? Or that you're dabbling? Do they scream champion? Or whisper maybe someday? Be honest. A relentless worker doesn't take days off from excellence. They rest when it's strategic. But even rest is intentional. It's recovery with a purpose, not a reward for minimal effort. Your calendar is your mirror. What you schedule, you value. If your schedule is random, your results will be too. Structure eliminates weakness. Routine eliminates negotiation. And discipline eliminates doubt. Start tracking your grind. Log the hours, not to post about it, but to prove to yourself that you're not the same person anymore. You're not hoping success finds you. You're hunting it. Daily. And stop waiting for inspiration. That's a child's game. You don't need to feel like it. You need to become the kind of person who does it anyway. Start earlier, stay later, go longer. Not because it's trendy, but because you decided that your potential is non-negotiable. Do you want to be elite? Then do what the elite do. They don't talk about how much they want it. They build systems. They sharpen their edges. They audit their time. They work when others relax. They earn what others envy. They don't get distracted by applause or by setbacks. They just keep moving, keep building, keep showing up. And eventually, inevitably, they rise. So here's the standard now. You don't stop at tired. You stop at done. You don't seek ease. You seek pressure. You don't make time. You prioritize effort. Because relentless doesn't mean non-stop hustle. It means no excuses. And that's what you are now, excuse-proof. You no longer wonder if you're doing enough. You make it undeniable. While others are counting reps, you're building resolve. While others are making excuses, you're making progress. While others are waiting for the right time, you create it. This is the grind, and the grind doesn't care how you feel. It only pays those who refuse to stop. Quitting is easy. That's why most people do it. It requires nothing but a moment of weakness, a single excuse, a single justification, and just like that, all progress is lost. But refusing to quit? That requires everything. That's the battlefield most never master. You've been there before, standing at the edge of exhaustion, the voice in your head whispering, "You've done enough. You're not cut out for this. It's okay to stop." And that's the trap, because the moment you listen, you begin negotiating your potential. You must silence that voice. You must become someone who doesn't just say, "I never quit." You must become someone for whom quitting is simply not a category in the brain. It's not on the menu, not even in the room. Persistence must become your identity. Most people believe winners are fearless. They're not. Winners just feel fear and move anyway. They feel doubt and work anyway. They feel tired, bored, unmotivated, and still execute. That's the separator. The difference between average and excellence is not in talent. It's in refusal. Refusal to give up. Refusal to back down. Refusal to let emotions override commitment. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before the light bulb finally worked. Not because he was lucky, but because he had built an internal engine that didn't stall at setback. He understood what most people don't. Failure is feedback. Every failure is information. Every failed attempt is another crack in the wall that eventually breaks through. When others quit, you must go again. Because the ability to continue, especially when it's the hardest, is the ability that builds greatness. You're not running a sprint. You're in a war of attrition. The prize doesn't go to the first. It goes to the one who lasts. And that's you. You keep pushing, not because it feels good, but because your future demands it. Because your purpose is stronger than your pain. Because your why is louder than your excuses. Some days, progress is invisible. You show up, do the work, and see no result. And the old you would have stopped. Said, "It's not working." But the new you understands. Compound effort doesn't reveal itself immediately. It accumulates quietly. And then, suddenly, it breaks through. Persistence isn't about force. It's about belief. It's the internal vow that no matter what, you will not leave this mission unfinished. You keep showing up, especially when the rewards aren't visible. Especially when your legs shake and your voice trembles and your inbox is silent. Because you don't grind for validation. You grind because you said you would. Quitting is a habit, just like persistence is. And every time you choose one, you train your brain to default to it again. So if you've quit in the past, good. Let it sting. Let it fuel you. Let it remind you what you never want to feel again. Regret will always cost more than discipline. You don't need a perfect plan. You need perfect commitment. You need the decision burned into your DNA, I will finish what I started. And when others ask how, the answer is simple. I kept going. Even when it hurt, even when I doubted, even when I wanted to quit. You build your identity not in success, but in what you do when you hit the wall. Push through, because the wall isn't there to stop you. It's there to separate the committed from the convenient, the strong from the soft, the destined from the distracted. The wall only breaks for those who don't. When it gets harder, you get sharper. When it gets quieter, you get louder, internally. You don't need music. You don't need hype. You don't need people cheering. You need to remember who you said you would be. That's enough. And if you fall, get up. Not once. Every time. Again and again and again. That's where the muscle is built. That's where the wiring rewrites. Because eventually, something flips. Quitting no longer feels like an option. Not because it's easy, but because quitting now would be dishonoring the fire you've walked through to get here. And the moment that happens, when your identity fuses with persistence, you become unstoppable. From that point on, even your losses build you. Even your delays serve you. Even your pain becomes purpose. You never stop. You never look back. And you never again give your power away to convenience. Because you've chosen the path of the few. The path of no retreat. No backup plan. No excuses. Only forward. Always forward. The old you is gone. You buried that version when you stopped negotiating with your potential, when you stopped explaining your goals to people who couldn't understand them, when you stopped breaking promises to yourself. Now it's time to embody the new identity fully. No more looking back. No more waiting to be ready. The transformation is already in motion. You are not becoming. You are. But here's the key. Transformation is not a one-time event. It's a daily execution. The fire that burned the old you doesn't stay lit on its own. You must feed it. Every day. Through your habits. Through your discipline. Through your refusal to let old thoughts resurface. You don't dip your toes into the new identity. You dive in, head first. with no rope back, with no exit plan. You must now live as if there's no other option, because there isn't. The greatest mistake people make during transformation is hesitating at the doorway. They stand there, peeking back at the comfort of the old life, wondering if they're good enough for what's ahead. That moment of hesitation is all it takes to fall back. So eliminate it. Decide right now, the old you is dead. The excuses, the doubt, the fear, the inconsistency, it's all been burned. You're not just changing your routine, you're changing your standard. You're not just adjusting what you do, you're redefining who you are. And from here forward, that standard is non-negotiable. You don't show up because it's convenient. You show up because it's your identity. You don't discipline your mind because it's trendy. You do it because it's what the strongest version of you demands. Live like the person you said you'd become, even before anyone else recognizes it. That's the gap between those who rise and those who fall back into the shadows. Most people wait for permission, wait to be validated, wait to feel ready. But the new you knows that action leads identity. If you want to be elite, you act elite. Every day, especially when no one's watching. There is no reward for dipping in and out of your purpose. You either are or you're not. So what does the new you look like? How do they operate? What choices do they make? How do they talk to themselves? What do they tolerate? Answer that, and then live it. Speak it into your routine, carve it into your body, cement it in your thinking. Because if you're still reacting like the old you, it doesn't matter what you say. The proof is in the patterns. You are now a walking example of your future. People should feel the shift before they even hear it. You carry yourself differently, you choose differently, you move differently, and that shift? It intimidates people who haven't done the work. That's okay. You didn't come this far to be liked. You came this far to become unrecognizable, even to your past self. And yes, you will be tested. The world will throw familiar storms at you to see if you still bend the way you used to. Old situations will reappear. Old people will try to reconnect. Old habits will tempt you. But every test is a reminder. That version of you is dead. You don't prove your transformation by talking about it. You prove it by not flinching when the old triggers return. You prove it by moving through resistance with a calm that only comes from someone who's already decided. This is who you are now. And you protect this identity like your life depends on it. Because it does. You protect it with your time. You guard it with your habits. You shield it with your energy. You don't engage with chaos. You don't explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You are done apologizing for your focus. And when someone asks what changed, you don't give them a monologue. You give them silence and let your presence speak. Transformation is loudest when it's unspoken. From now on, every choice you make is either aligned or it's not. That's the simplicity of the new standard. No more good enough, no more I'll try. You either live it or you don't. And if you fall, you rise faster. You reset with purpose. You don't crumble into self-pity. You don't allow one mistake to become a spiral. You snap back stronger because the new you recovers like a weapon. That's your new instinct now. Resilience. Not motivation, not hype, resilience. And if the old you ever tries to return, don't argue. Don't entertain. Just remember, that version already had its shot. It failed. You buried it. You owe it nothing. Your loyalty now belongs to your future, to the version of you who's waiting at the next level, who doesn't even recognize the person you used to be. So burn the final bridge, stand in the fire of this new identity, until your old self is unrecognizable even to you. This is not a costume. This is not a phase. This is permanent. You don't need to announce your every move. In fact, the more serious your growth becomes, the quieter it must get. You're no longer in the business of performance. You're in the business of transformation. And real transformation doesn't seek validation. It doesn't crave applause. It simply works. In silence, in shadows, until the results make the noise. This is the power of silence. Most people talk because they're unsure. They overshare to seek approval. They post their plans hoping someone will clap. But you're done with that. The new you doesn't need an audience. You need execution. Talk less, build more. Because every time you speak your intentions into the world too soon, you bleed power. Your mind believes you've already done something, and your urgency fades. That's not strategy. That's self-sabotage. There is strength in silence. When no one knows what you're doing, no one can interfere. No one can doubt it. No one can manipulate it. You move in silence, not out of fear, but out of discipline. It's how warriors operate. You don't reveal your battle plans. You execute them. Let them wonder. Let them assume you're slipping. Let them think you've slowed down. While they waste time talking, explaining, debating, and posturing, you're in the dark, building leverage. And when you emerge, it will be too late for them to catch up. Look at every powerful figure in history. The ones who created shockwaves didn't warn the world. They just acted. Steve Jobs didn't ask permission to innovate. Elon Musk didn't explain every risk. The Wright brothers didn't consult everyone before building flight. They moved in silence, failed in private, and changed the world in public. That's your model now. You don't reveal what's in progress. You protect it. You don't explain why you're distant. You protect your energy. You don't argue with critics. You protect your peace. Because the stronger you become, the more important your energy becomes. And not everyone deserves access to it. Some people are distractions dressed as support. Others are anchors pretending to be advisors. You must become ruthless with who knows what and when. Privacy isn't isolation, it's insulation. It gives your progress time to mature. It gives your discipline space to compound. It gives your vision the quiet it needs to sharpen. Think of silence as a shield, a training ground, a pressure chamber where greatness is forged without interference. You don't need to prove yourself anymore. You've already decided who you are. And when you've made that internal decision, there's no need for external validation. Let them underestimate you. Let them sleep on you. Let them run their mouths while you run your strategy. Because by the time they realize what's happening, you'll be miles ahead. Not because you said you would, but because you did. This is how power is built. Not by shouting, not by broadcasting, but by stacking wins in silence. Every workout, every session, every early morning, every hard decision made behind closed doors. It all adds up. And when you show up, you don't explain. You are. And your presence speaks louder than words ever could. This approach also protects you from self-doubt. When you talk too soon, you invite opinions. Opinions become noise. Noise becomes friction. Friction becomes hesitation. But when you move quietly, your only opponent is the mirror. And that's the only voice that matters now. You'll be tempted to share, to tell people your plans, to post about your grind. But pause and ask yourself, am I posting for power or permission? If it's the latter, delete it. If it's the former, delay it until the results are undeniable. This is chess now, not checkers. Every move is intentional. Every conversation is strategic. Every silence is loaded. You don't need to explain your withdrawal. You don't need to justify your hustle. You're not being antisocial. You're being unavailable to anything that threatens your evolution. Some will call you cold. Others will say you've changed. Let them. You didn't come this far to keep proving yourself to people who are still stuck in their old narrative of who you used to be. You didn't come this far to be seen. You came this far to become. So stay in the shadows, train in the dark, build in silence, and when it's time to speak, let your results scream. Your energy is sacred. Treat it that way. Every distraction you entertain, every pointless conversation you entertain, every notification you check out of habit instead of intention, that's energy leaking. And energy is the fuel that determines your focus, your discipline, your progress. If you don't learn to protect your energy, the world will drain it for you. Everything and everyone is either charging you or depleting you. There is no neutral. Every moment, you're either building momentum or giving it away. The modern world is designed to rob you of focus. Social media, ads, dopamine loops, gossip, comparison, all weapons built to fragment your attention. And once your attention is shattered, so is your discipline. You must become a guardian, not just of your goals, but of your state. Look around. Who do you allow to speak into your life? Who gets access to your time? Who influences your mood, your decisions, your standards? Audit it all. Most people are exhausted not because of how much they do, but because of what they tolerate. Energy vampires are real. They come in the form of people who complain constantly, who dump their drama into your space, who drain your enthusiasm with every word. You don't owe them your peace. You don't owe them your attention. Distance is not disrespect. It's clarity. Say no, loudly and without apology. You cannot say yes to your mission if you're constantly saying yes to everyone else's comfort. This also applies to your environment, your room, your workspace, your digital life. It all reflects your internal state. Clutter steals focus. Disorder invites distraction. Clean your space and you'll clean your mind. You must set up your day like a fortress. Start with the morning. It should be sacred. That first hour isn't for the world. It's for you. No phone, no news, no reaction. Just clarity. Just movement. Just building momentum from the moment you wake. Because how you start is how you continue. Then structure your day around your real priorities. Most people confuse being busy with being effective. Don't fall into that trap. Answer this. What 3 things move you closer to the future you want? Schedule those. Guard them. Execute without compromise. Multitasking is a lie. You are not meant to split your mind across 10 windows and think you're focused. You must go deep. One task, one mission, one sprint at a time. This is how elite performers operate. They don't hop from thing to thing. They enter flow, and they protect that state like their life depends on it, because it does. You need boundaries, not just with people, but with habits. The impulse to check your phone, to scroll, to browse. Every one of those little decisions chips away at your edge. Discipline isn't just about willpower. It's about environment design. Make distraction difficult. Turn off notifications. Uninstall time-wasting apps. Set time blocks for deep work. Create friction around the behaviors that steal your power, and create ease around the ones that build it. And don't mistake rest for weakness. Rest is sacred, but it must be intentional. Rest is recovery, not escape. Watch how you rest. If your rest leaves you drained, it's not rest. It's avoidance. Recharge with purpose. Sleep with structure. Nourish your body. Move daily. Your physical energy is the foundation of your mental edge. Now, let's talk about attention. Attention is currency. Spend it like you would your last dollar. Every time you give attention to the wrong thing, a pointless argument, a clickbait video, a text thread that goes nowhere, you're choosing distraction over destiny. Protecting your energy also means eliminating the belief that you must be available all the time. You're not a 24/7 help desk. You're not obligated to explain why you're busy building. Let people feel what they need to feel. You're not rude. You're focused. Let them think what they want. You've got a future to protect. And if someone doesn't respect your time, your silence, your focus, they don't respect your evolution. And they don't belong in your circle. Your circle should energize you, sharpen you, pull the best from you. If it doesn't, it's not a circle, it's a cage. Walk away from what drains you. Step fully into what fuels you. Because when your energy is protected, your mind becomes a weapon. You move with clarity. You execute with power. You endure with grace. So from this moment forward, be ruthless with your energy. Say no without guilt. Unplug without apology. Schedule solitude. Guard your mind like it's the gate to your future. Because it is. And the more focused you become, the more unstoppable you become. No more leaks, no more noise, no more wasted motion. Protect your energy, and you protect everything. You were not built for mediocrity. It was taught to you, slowly, subtly, systemically. You were told to play it safe, to be realistic, to lower your standards so you wouldn't be disappointed. And over time, you stopped aiming high. You stopped expecting more. You settled. But settling is a silent betrayal. You didn't come this far to be average. You didn't burn the old self, walk alone, and build daily discipline just to blend in. Now it's time to make it permanent. Reject mediocrity completely. Because mediocrity isn't neutral. It's a virus. It spreads through conversations, routines, environments, excuses. It lowers your standards without asking permission. And unless you actively fight it, it will wrap itself around your life and convince you that this is just how it is. Not anymore. From this moment forward, mediocrity becomes your enemy. Start by raising your standards across the board. How you wake up, how you speak, how you train, how you show up to a task, no matter how small. It all reflects your internal code. And your code is sacred. Excellence is not just for the big moments. It's in how you brush your teeth, organize your space, answer an email, complete a rep. It's who you are when no one's looking. Stop tolerating 80%. You think high standards are exhausting? Try living with the pain of knowing you played small. That fatigue never goes away. Mediocrity will always offer you rest, safety, understanding. But what it really delivers is regret. Slowly, over years, until one day you realize you traded your potential for ease. And now there's no time left. Raise your voice against it. Don't apologize for wanting more. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. Don't soften your ambition because your environment can't handle your intensity. You are allowed to want extraordinary. In fact, you're wired for it. Look at the most fulfilled people in history. The artists, the athletes, the leaders, the innovators. None of them were lukewarm. They lived at full volume. They demanded more from themselves, and the world responded. You must now do the same. This starts with a line in the sand. Decide today. Mediocrity no longer has a seat at your table. That means you stop tolerating half-effort from yourself or others. No more, I'll get to it later. No more, I'm too tired. No more, at least I tried. You either execute or you don't. And if you miss, fine. You come back stronger. But you never again accept a half-hearted life. You don't just drift through days hoping something changes. You change. You create your standard, and you live by it. No matter who's watching, no matter how you feel. And yes, it will be lonely. Because most people settle. Most people call good enough the goal. You will make people uncomfortable just by existing with higher expectations. Let them be uncomfortable. Their discomfort is not your problem. Your potential is. You don't lower your temperature to match the room. You raise it and change the climate. Be the person who walks into a space and raises the frequency without saying a word. Not because you're loud, but because your standard is so clear, so powerful, that others feel it. Stop wasting time around people who have no interest in excellence. If they mock your ambition, your discipline, your focus, they're not your tribe. Find those who push harder, who make you feel like you're behind in the best way, who force you to elevate just to keep up. This is what builds greatness. Surrounding yourself with people who live high standards, not just talk about them, and then hold yourself to that level. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You don't dip into mediocrity on the weekends. You don't turn your intensity off after work. You don't have cheat days for your character. You are always in the arena, always sharpening, always executing. Because when you build that level of consistency, the world stops questioning you. It starts respecting you. And more importantly, you start respecting yourself. And that's where real freedom begins. When you know, without doubt, that you never cheated the vision. So look at your life now. What needs to go? What part of your routine still reeks of average? What behavior still speaks of your past self? Cut it. No apology, no delay. And replace it with something that reflects your next level. You are not here to get by. You are here to lead, to build, to dominate. And there is no space for mediocrity on that path. So reject it fully, in your habits, in your circle, in your thoughts, and watch how your entire life recalibrates around the new standard. Standards are not goals. They are laws. Unbreakable, non-negotiable. They define who you are. Not what you hope to be, but what you insist on being. And if you want to live at your highest level, you must set standards that leave no room for average behavior. This is the moment you etch the code of your new life into stone. Not suggestions, not preferences, standards. It starts by removing the option to try. Trying is optional. Execution is not. From this point forward, you do or you don't. There's no middle, because when your standard is excellence, every action must echo that. Every word you speak, every task you take on, every decision you make becomes a reflection of that internal law. Ask yourself, what will you no longer tolerate? Laziness? Excuses? Mediocre company? Vague plans? Delayed action? Write your standards down. Carve them into your day. Etch them into your schedule. Your life doesn't rise to your goals. It falls to your standards. The elite don't rely on motivation. They rely on structure. They've set boundaries so solid, they don't need to guess what to do. They already know. Their calendar is a reflection of their commitment. Their body reflects their discipline. Their decisions reflect their identity. That's what you must build. You're no longer asking what's allowed. You're deciding what's required. And here's the truth. Until your standards become internalized, you'll always be inconsistent. You'll treat your discipline like a switch, on when you feel like it, off when you don't. But once it becomes your code, everything changes. You don't skip the gym. You go because it's who you are. You don't force yourself to work. You build because it's your duty. You don't wait for inspiration. You lead because it's non-negotiable. That's the shift. You're not here to perform discipline. You're here to embody it. Think about military units like Navy SEALs. Their standards are so ingrained that hesitation becomes impossible. They don't think twice. They execute. Because when the standard is life or death, there's no room for improvisation. You're building your own elite unit now, and you are the entire squad. That means showing up like it matters, because it does. Your life depends on your ability to rise when others rest, to lock in when others relax, to act when others rationalize. And those standards? They are now the armor you wear. They shield you from excuses. They block distraction. They reinforce who you've become, even when temptation returns. Because the old you will try to creep back in. That voice that says, just skip today. It's not that serious. You've earned a break. And if your standards are soft, you'll bend. But if they are written in fire, you'll stand firm. You must eliminate back doors. No more if I have time. No more just this once. No more negotiating with yourself in moments of weakness. Instead, this is what I do, no matter what. The difference between champions and everyone else is not talent. It's standardization. They made the boring sacred. They turned repetition into religion. And you must too. Build a code of conduct for your life. I wake up at this time, no snooze. I move my body daily, no debate. I execute 3 high-impact tasks, no delay. I reflect each night, no scrolling until I'm done. I protect my environment, no tolerance for chaos. Not because it's trendy, not because someone told you to, but because that's the standard you hold yourself to now. Others may fold, you don't. Others may slack off, you sharpen. Others may seek balance, you seek mastery. And yes, this life isn't for everyone. But you didn't come this far for everyone's life. You came to live yours at full capacity. So define your law, lock it in, and understand this. If someone isn't aligned with your standard, they don't belong in your space. You're not judging them. You're protecting the standard. Because when you protect it long enough, it protects you back. It filters opportunities. It attracts the right people. It eliminates confusion. When people see how you move, how you speak, how you execute, they adjust. Or they exit. That's how you maintain control. You set the tone, always. So hold the line. No matter what life throws at you, you operate from your code. It's not up for debate. It's not temporary. It's not emotional. It's who you are now. You've burned the bridges. You've walked alone. You've rebuilt the foundation from rubble. You've cut the noise, erased the weak habits, and raised your standards to a level most will never touch. Now there is only one direction left: forward, with dominance. This final evolution is not about speed, it's about force. About forward movement with such precision, such conviction, that nothing, no distraction, no detour, no voice from the past can pull you off course. There's no return path, no rearview mirror. You don't look back to wave. You don't pause to explain. You don't wait for anyone to catch up. You move, because the old version of you doesn't belong in this new life. That person can't handle this pace. That person couldn't survive this intensity. You killed that person. And every time you stay locked in, every time you keep going when it's hard, every time you remain silent when your ego wants to boast, you drive the final nail into the coffin of who you used to be. Let that version stay buried. The world will still try to reintroduce you to the old you. Situations will resurface. Old temptations will test you. But you're not here to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to convince the world you've changed. You show them by being unreachable to the past. This is what true dominance looks like. Complete disinterest in regression. You don't flirt with comfort anymore. You don't flirt with compromise. You don't take one day off just to feel normal again. You have zero interest in going back. From now on, every thought, every movement, every decision must align with the new identity. When you wake up, it's war. Not against others, but against any part of you that dares to coast, to hesitate, to entertain softness. You now operate from a place of conviction, not just discipline. Discipline gets you started. Conviction makes it permanent. You walk differently now. You see differently. You speak with fewer words and more power. You are calm because you are certain, and certainty is the most dangerous force a person can carry. The version of you that used to question everything, gone. The one that needed motivation, buried. The one that negotiated goals when it got inconvenient? Dead. And here's the truth. This level of existence won't be loud. It won't be flashy. It won't always feel exciting, but it will be real. And it will be undeniable. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer seek, you become. You move with unshakable rhythm. Not because it's easy, but because this is who you are now. And when challenges come, as they will, you don't collapse. You command. You adapt. You dominate. Let others talk about what they're working on. Let others dabble in self-help, motivational posts, and planning. You're finished with plans. You're finished with talking. You live the standard now. You move like a storm, calm, silent, and devastating. This is the final chapter of reinvention, where you stop seeking transformation and start embodying it, where you don't just burn the old life. You outgrow it so far, it can't even find your shadow. And when people see you, they won't recognize you, not because you've changed how you look, but because you carry something they can't name. They'll call it confidence. They'll call it presence. They'll call it discipline. But you'll know the truth. You built this, brick by brick, burn by burn, standard by standard. And now, you walk forward, not as someone trying to become powerful, but as someone who already is. You've dominated the old story. You've become undeniable. You've become the final version. This is the silence after the storm. This is the stillness of knowing you'll never go back. This is who you are now. This journey wasn't about motivation. It wasn't about temporary fire or external applause. It was about something far more permanent, becoming. Becoming someone so grounded in purpose, so anchored in identity, that nothing, no opinion, no setback, no echo of the past, can sway you again. You've walked through the fire and didn't just survive. You chose to stay in it until it burned away every layer of weakness, doubt, and dependency. You didn't just fix what was broken. You destroyed what was average and built something no one could touch. The unshakable you. And now, standing here at the edge of your former self, you know, there is no going back. Not because you're afraid to return, but because what you've become has no use for the life you left behind. You've realized that growth isn't a single event. It's a lifelong stance, a standard, a declaration that says, I will not shrink to fit. I will not pause to please. I will not explain what's already been decided. This is your new normal, where discipline is automatic, where solitude is strength, where silence is a weapon, where results speak so loudly, words become unnecessary. You've buried the old identity with honor, because even in its weakness, it carried you here. But now, you rise as something sharper, more focused, more exact. You no longer seek freedom, you embody it. You no longer chase potential, you express it. And when the world throws storms at you, as it always will, you don't run for cover. You become the eye of it, calm, unbothered, in control. People will ask what changed. They'll want to know the secret, the trick, the hack. But there was none. Only work, only silence, only the decision to never quit. You didn't get lucky. You didn't get handed anything. You earned it, one quiet, ruthless step at a time. And now that you've arrived here, not at a finish line, but at a threshold, you face one final truth. This version of you was always possible. It was buried under noise, fear, excuses, weakness. And you dug it out. So from this moment forward, no more doubting, no more hesitating, no more shrinking. The work continues. The silence remains. The standard stands unshaken. But the old you, gone forever. And in that space, something undeniable has risen. Something unbreakable. You,